What's up, guys? Alex from Adventurer here. This week, the tutorial is going to be on vocal processing. We had quite a lot of suggestions for vocal processing tutorials, so we decided to do one, and we've chosen to show you the reality vocals. We did have a specific request for the overload vocals, but I swear to God I can't find them anymore. It was hard enough to find the reality ones. But yeah, if you've got any suggestions for any future tutorials, please leave a comment or get in touch on our socials. But yeah, let's get started. So I'm going to start off by showing you the finished product. I probably won't play all of it.
If you want me, just say the words. I've got the love to save the world. It's you and me, nothing to lose. We're just running around with a love to prove.
So as you can hear, they're really wet. They're very heavily processed. It seems to be a theme in dance music, so if you can't beat them, join them. So anyway, I'm going to show you what the raw vocals sound like. I won't be able to show you the pitch correction element of it today. I'll do that in another video, another short video. For some reason, my pitch correction software isn't working very well.
If you want me, just say the words. I've got the love to save the world.
So the first thing you'll notice is there's not just one voice. I triple track all of my vocals. One left, one right, and the lead in the center. This is just to give it more power, and it's always done in EDM with those with particularly weak voices, such as my own. For the moment, let's focus on the lead vocal.
If you want me, just say the words. I've got the love to save the world.
So the first plugin I'm going to show you is Nectar 2. When you first open it up, it looks like this, and I actually think it looks way too cluttered for me personally. I don't like having to see everything here, and I also hate using compressors that look like this format here. I like more of a visual. But luckily the advanced setting has everything broken down into its own individual section, so you can go far more into detail with everything. So with every vocal I do, I always add saturation. And I usually go for the warmth just because I've got quite a nasal voice. You probably won't be able to hear any difference, really.
If you want me, just say the words. I've got the love to
you can hear
save
right
the
at the
world.
100%. It starts to peak because there's just too much saturation on it. I usually have it at around 30%. It's such a subtle difference, but it helps it pop a little bit more.
If you want me, just say the words. I've got the love to save the world.
The next thing I put on is literally just a basic high pass. That's just to get rid of all the low end. Any vocalists that are watching this will know that plosives are a bit of a nightmare to deal with when you're trying to process vocals. So I cut as much low end off as sounds natural. And then on to the most important part of this plugin. I don't use any other compressors on my vocals apart from the ones that come in as sort of a standard in the other plugins that I'll show you in a moment. This is the main compression that I use. So if I play this,
if you want me,
I need those louder parts to just shut up, basically. So
if you want me,
what I do is really spank the vocal. It's more of a pop thing to do. Some people will look at that kind of compression and go like, what the hell have you done? But I like it, and it sounds pop, so I do it. Let's have a listen.
If you want me, just say the words. I've got the love to save the world.
Maybe not quite so harsh.
If you want me, just say the words. I've got the love to save the world.
Sounds about right to me. And then the last thing I put on this plugin is the simple de-esser.
If you want me.
I actually sing with a really slight lisp as well, which is really annoying. So this is useful for me.
Just say the words. I've got the love to save the world.
Yeah, it's doing everything I need it to do on the S sound. You can see it ducking.
If you want me, just say the words.
And that's all it needs to do. But that's all I use on this plugin. As I said, it's just there to clean up the vocal and to bring it up to the forefront a little bit more before I add on all the special glittery stuff. And then the magic part happens, which is all the waves plugins. So the first one I'm going to put on is a JJP vocal. So right away, the default setting.
If you want me.
I mean, it's a crazy difference. I did play around with it for a very long time to get the reality vocal. The one I always put it on at first is the warm vocal.
If you want me.
Because it's a little bit tighter than the default sound. Even though the default sound is great as it is, I prefer the warm vocal because it's just a lot tighter, and it means I can apply the effects I actually want. In addition as well, I have quite a nasal voice when I sing, so I personally just try to bring out as much warmth as I can.
If you want me, just say the words. I've got the love to save the world.
So yeah, really simple. And then there was one extra step that we first did in Overload that Ciano put on by mistake, but he left it in because he's crazy. And that was a CLA guitar. I'm not sure whether I'm going to keep it on because I've not used it in a long time. Let's see what it sounds like.
If you want me, just say the words. I've got the love to save the world.
So that really does spank it, and it can sound really nice. For me, it's a little bit too much processing, but it did end up in the final Overload vocals for those that are interested.
If you want me, just say the words. I've got the love to save the world.
But yeah, for now, I'll leave it there. But I'm just going to switch it off, just because it seems a bit wrong. It seems a bit dirty to me. But yeah, that is almost it, if I'm honest. Put a Valhalla vocal on it.
If you want me, just say the words. I've got the love to save the world. If you want me, just say the words. I've got the love to save the world.
In terms of reverb, quite heavily reverbed. I just love reverb. And now for the delay, which I think is the most important effect that I use. It just gives it more movement. So if I bring down the wet and dry,
if you want,
I'm going to make it analog as well. Switch off analog, sorry.
If you want me, just say the words.
So that's at a 1/8 dotted. I always use the 4th, so
if you want me,
the quarter note, and then I ping pong it, and then drag down the low pass. Just because if there's too much high end going on, it will just end up sounding really messy.
If you want me, just say the words. I've got the love to save the world.
Bring down the feedback.
If you want me, just say the words. I've got the love to save the world.
So now if I just try that with the backing, group those. So let's do it with the V2 backing.
If you want me, just say the words. I've got the love to save the world.
Enough.
If you want me, just say the words. I've got the love to save the world.
They actually sound really clean, cleaner than the final ones. Probably just add a touch more reverb, just to try and get it closer to the original. In terms of the double tracks, so this probably goes without saying, but DT left is double track left. which I'm going to pan all the way to the left, and double track right all the way to the right. I'm going to group these. On Logic, you'd just use a bus. Rename them DT box. In terms of the processing, it's actually exactly the same as the lead vocal, with the exception of the Valhalla and the delay. So if I copy and paste that. So I'm going to switch off the Valhalla and the delay.
If you want me, just say the words. I've got the love to save the world.
You can hear it's obviously in the left and right ears, but they just add more power if I include that as well.
If you want me, just say the word.
Now at the moment they're just supposed to be there to support, so I'll just turn them both down.
If you want me, just say the words. I've got the love to save the world.
That's it. It's just there to just be a hint. It's one of those things that you're not really supposed to notice until you realize it's there. So I'm going to move this Valhalla and delay onto the group track, but with the, I'm just going to unsolo that.
If you want me, just say the word.
I always apply a little bit more reverb onto the double tracks, just because they give ambience, because they're way out on the left and right, and up the pre-delay, just to give it a little bit more of that arena feel. And I'll up the high cut as well, just because I want it to glitter a tiny bit more. So
if you want me, just say the words.
Great, really happy with that. And then the H delay.
If you want me, just say the words. I've got the love to save the world.
Cool, happy with that. And then all together.
If you want me, just say the words. I've got the love to save the world. It's you and me, nothing to lose. We're just running around with a love to prove. Don't be scared, it's a part of life. I don't care if we run and hide.
Yeah, I really like the sound of those. The last thing I need to do is add on a final EQ. I use the FabFilter Pro Q, but yeah, you can use whatever you feel is best, obviously. And the Pro Q is just always my go-to as well. So the last EQ I'm going to add, right at the end of the chain, is another low cut, just to get rid of all of the low end that the reverb may have produced.
The words, I've got the love to save the world. It's you and me, nothing to lose. We're just running around with a love to prove.
And then I always boost my mids. This is going to change for every vocalist. I'm just used to mine, so I know that I need a little bit more mid. That's basically it. For me, it's around 1800 hertz.
If you want me, just say the words. I've got the love to save the world. It's you and me, nothing to...
Great. Don't really need to apply it to the double tracks. I'm quite happy with those the way they are. The only thing I am going to add is a low cut again.
If you want me, just say the words. I've got the love to save the world. It's you and me, nothing to lose. We're just running around with a love to prove.
So yeah, that's it. Thank you very much for watching. If there's any ideas or any suggestions for another tutorial video, anything in particular you want to see, please comment. You can get in touch with us through our socials, which are on the screen at the moment as well. But yeah, that's about it. Thank you very much.